You want me to be anecdotal?
Anecdotal?
Anecdotal. Antidotal. It could be antidotal.
What have the dodals ever done to you? Mended light. All right, folks, this one's going to be a lot of me. Alicia's going to be here to support with her insights and also to pick me up when I just fall off this chair and collapse in a puddle of tears. Because
Do you want me to caress the back of your head?
Yeah.
Do you want to put your head on my shoulder?
Maybe in a little bit. So we're going to talk about when you're overcome by fear and self-loathing. No. Folks, this is my journey.
It's me. Hi.
And as is so often the case, I find healing and wisdom and inspiration from Rocky Balboa. We're going to start with a clip from Rocky 3, which Alicia has not seen, because if it's not Remember the Titans, she hasn't seen it.
That is not true.
If it's not Remember the Titans, she doesn't remember it.
There's a little bit of truth to that. But my favorite genre is true story sports movies, and I remember lots of things from those.
Well, this is a sports movie that's full of truth. How about that?
I love it.
Okay, so in Rocky 3, Rocky is the champ. He's been winning a lot of fights. He gets caught up in his own hubris and his own ego, and he gets absolutely demolished by Mr. T.
Ooh, I know who Mr. T is.
Yeah, he gets demolished by Mr. T. His trainer dies of a heart attack, and his old opponent, Apollo Creed, is now his bro and is helping him train to be an actual boxer and know footwork and to know how to move, because before Rocky didn't have technique. He just led with his head.
Yeah.
And he was just the toughest, like, I'll just keep getting up. That's how he wins. And Apollo is teaching him actually how to fight. The thing is, Rocky's got a supportive wife. He's got his new BFF, who's really in his corner, but he is completely imploding because of self-doubt. He is completely imploding because he believes his legacy is built on a lie. He's not as great as he thought he was. And that it's imposter syndrome, right? That he's a fraud. So he's training with Apollo and his heart's not in it. And now he's just standing on the beach like, where do I go from here? And this is the conversation with his wife, Adrian.
So he's built his worth and belonging on all these existential things that could crumble.
He's tied his worth to being the champ.
Yeah.
He's tied his worth to the praise of the crowd and his status at the top of the heap.
Yeah.
And he's lost all of that, so what is he?
I don't believe in myself no more, don't you understand? When a fighter don't believe, that's it. He's finished, it's over, that's it.
That's not it!
That is it!
Why don't you tell me the truth?
What are you putting me through, Adrian? You want to know the truth? The truth is I don't want to lose what I got. In the beginning, I didn't care about what happened to me. I go in the ring, I get busted up, I didn't care. But now there's you, there's the kid. I don't want to lose what I got.
What do we have that can't be replaced? What? A house. We got cars. We got money. We got everything but the truth. What's the truth, damn it?
I'm afraid, all right? You want to hear me say it? You want to break me down? All right, I'm afraid. For the first time in my life, I'm afraid.
I'm afraid, too. There's nothing wrong with being afraid.
There is. For me, there is.
Why, you're human, aren't you?
Look, I don't know what I am. All I know is I'm a liar. And because of that, Mickey ain't here no more.
You didn't push him into anything.
Mickey was his trainer.
He was a grown man, and he did what he had to do. And you have no right to feel guilty for what happened. You don't. You were a champion, and you did what you were expected to do. And you did what I and everybody else thought you should do. And you want to tell me that those fights weren't real? That you were carried? Well, I don't believe it.
So a little context. Rocky's former trainer and manager, after he became the champion, would set him up with people who weren't real contenders to prop Rocky up and keep him on top, mostly because Mickey loved Rocky and wanted to keep him safe. But because of that, Rocky...
It's not because Mickey didn't believe in him.
Right.
But he was trying to protect him.
But now Mickey's dead, and Rocky feels like, I was never really the champion. Maybe once, that one time I won, but ever since then, it's just a lie.
Doesn't matter what I believe, because you're the one that's got to carry that fear around inside you. Afraid that everybody's going to take things away. Afraid you're going to be remembered as a coward. That you're not a man anymore. Well, none of it's true. But it doesn't matter if I tell you. It doesn't matter because you're the one that's got to settle it. Get rid of it. Because when all the smoke is cleared and everyone's through chanting your name, it's just going to be us. And you can't live like this. We can't live like this. It's going to bother you for the rest of your life. Look what it's doing to you now.
And I relate to that. It's tearing him apart, that self-loathing, that fear, that insecurity.
Apollo thinks you can do it. So do I. But you gotta want to do it for the right reasons. Not for the guilt over Mickey. Not for the people. Not for the title. Not for money or me. But for you. Just you. Just you alone.
And if I lose?
And you lose. But at least you lose with no excuses. No fear. And I know you can live with that.
See? It's a sports movie that's full of truth instead of a true story sports movie.
It's beautiful.
Isn't it? His arms are beautiful. Did you see those things? Holy crap.
It was very impressive.
Wow.
So I relate to Rocky because he's attached his worth to success. He's attached his worth to what other people think about him. He's attached his worth to his relationships. He's attached his worth to everything but what is foundational, which Adrian's pointing him to, which is doing things without fear, which is doing things because they make you happy. They bring you fulfillment, right? And the fear comes from the judgment, the harsh self-judgment of I'm now a failure. I'm not worth anything, and the fear comes, like you talk about, from tying your worth to the wrong things.
Well, it's tying your worth to anything outside yourself.
Yeah.
And each personality type, each person has their nuance of what they value, and we tend to tie our worth to what we value. But that turns us into marionette puppets, right? Where we have all these strings pulling us in different directions. And I only belong, and I only have value, and I'm only accepted if. I'm only loved if. And I've talked about this in other videos, but I don't talk about it all the time. I believe that the first lesson all of us have to learn in this human experience, because I believe we're here to learn and grow and develop into the best version of ourselves. But the first lesson that every single individual has to learn is that their worth is innate. It doesn't belong outside of them. It's not attached to all these things, even if they're good things, right?
Yeah.
Having friendships with people is a good thing. Having close relationships with our loved ones is a good thing. Trying to accomplish our goals is a good thing. Knowing, information and having the right answers, these are all good things. But when we tie our worth to those things, it takes it from outside of ourselves. And we need to bring our worth back to right here, to where it originally came from, right? And recognize that we're worthy because we're human. We have value because we're human. We have value because we are.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to do anything to earn it. But our entire life experiences would tell us we have to earn love. We have to earn acceptance. We have to earn belonging.
And this, going back to Rocky, this reminds me of in the first film, he is treated like dirt by a lot of people. And he's got in his head that if I can win everyone's respect, then I'll be good, right?
Then I'll belong.
Then I'll belong,
I'll have worth. They will see my value.
And what he says to himself is, I don't need to win this fight. I need to do the best I can. And I need to do something that to me is great. That when it was hard, I kept going. And he loses that first fight. And what's cool is he's got the crowd chanting for him, and he's got all these people that didn't believe in him that now do, and he doesn't really care anymore.
Because when you shift it, the outcome matters.
Yeah.
But win or lose, I didn't lose my worth. Win or lose, I didn't lose my belonging. Win or lose, I didn't lose my value. And so, sure, you're risking whatever that opportunity is.
Yeah.
But your value isn't tied to the outcome.
Right.
And it takes the stakes from a place of, I don't know what I'm going to do if I lose in this situation, to win or lose, it doesn't matter. I still am who I am. I have my wife. I have my son. Like, I have my value and belonging.
Yeah. So for me, I had to go through a similar journey. I attached my worth to my ability to make people laugh and my ability to bring people comfort. Dreamer, healer, right? Can I entertain people and can I make people feel better? And I'm still deeply involved in that type of work here and now. That type of stuff still matters to me. But the reason for it is what needed to shift. Mm-hmm. Because what I was doing it for was partially to serve and to lift and to help people, but partially so they would think I was a good guy.
To prop up your own belonging.
Yeah.
Because you didn't really believe it without.
Right. If others told me that I had helped them, or if I made others laugh, then I had a purpose, then I had belonging, then I had worth. And I remember when I did a talent show and I made 500 people laugh and I won the talent show for my entire university. It's like a big deal for me when I was 24 years old. It's a big deal to me now. That's cool. But I remember the insecurity and the fear with which I went up on stage was something that I carried with me from my life before. And it was so potent.
The stakes were so high.
The stakes were high and I was terrified, but when I nailed it and everyone was laughing and cheering, the rush of it was so exhilarating that I pursued comedy for another couple of years and had a wonderful time doing it. But the thing about it was, at least for a while, I was still doing it for the reason of I wanted people to like me. And I think we see this with performers and celebrities a lot. I want people to like me. I want people to buoy me up, which is why when someone's had their 15 minutes of fame, quote unquote, and then they're no longer, front page news, a lot of times they spiral because they built their foundation on the praise of others. And for me, the shift happened when I was talking with a friend of mine who never choked on stage. He was always funny. And I had this thing where if it was a crowd of strangers, I would knock it out of the park. But if there was a cute girl I wanted to impress, or if I had family visiting, anybody whose opinion really mattered to me, I would get nervous and I'd get inside my head and I would choke on stage. I asked him, what's your secret? Why do you never choke? Why are you always funny? I've never seen you bomb. And I expected him, to picture everyone in your underwear or some sort of psychological exercise to not be nervous. Mm-hmm. But he said to me, I just recognize that there's someone in the audience who's having the worst week of their life. And I have the opportunity to help them to feel some levity and feel like there's hope because they can laugh. And it completely reframed the purpose of what I was doing. I had been doing it for selfish reasons, and then it became kind of my worth isn't even part of the equation. I'm now able to speak in front of thousands of people live without being afraid. And the reason for that is because it's not what I attach my worth to. If I bomb on camera or on stage, life will go on. The people who love me will still love me, and most importantly, I'll still love myself. How I work through self-loathing is ultimately how Rocky works through it, which is by getting out of your head and decreasing the stakes. He's acting like everything's riding on this fight. And he says, if I lose, right? If I lose, then I am a loser, and I wasn't the champion after all, and I am pathetic, and people who respect me won't respect me anymore. And he put all of this on this rematch with Mr. T. And his wife says, if you lose, no big deal. Because you went in there with your head held high and did your best, and you have no excuses or fear anymore. Because fear is the thing you're really trying to conquer. And self-loathing is the thing you're really trying to conquer. And as you were saying, your worth is still your worth. And what I love about then what happens in the fight is this is the only time this has ever happened in a Rocky movie. Every Rocky movie ends with this grueling bout where he's hanging on by a thread and he's barely keeping it together and he's getting his butt kicked and he comes and he rallies back. It's like what Rocky does. But in this film, once he realizes that it doesn't really matter if he wins or loses the fight, he takes the pressure off. Mm-hmm. He goes in and he absolutely destroys Mr. T. Absolutely wipes the floor with him. And you would think, well, that's not dramatically satisfying because where's the tension? And it's like, no, you're seeing him stepping into his power of no, this is fine. I got this. Because everything's not riding on it. And that's what really helped me through my self-loathing is anytime I put a lot of pressure on myself, I feel like a loser and I choke. Anytime I say, you got this, and if you don't, it's going to be okay, I do really well.
Well, and so the growth opportunity for all of us, because we all have different things we tie our worth to. And the growth opportunity isn't to stop valuing those things.
Yeah.
Like what you value is part of your gifts, right? And if we allow it, our gifts can support us in our life mission and our purpose, which like you're a great example of. You still love to entertain, you still love to create connection, and you make a wonderful difference in a lot of people's lives doing that. The goal isn't to let go of what we value. The goal is to cut those worth ties and to still hold on to what we value and just not attach our worth to it. And you did such a good job of explaining that, because the examples that you gave were, I'm not going to change what I'm doing, but I'm going to change the motivation, the intention behind that behavior, if you will.
Yeah.
And I found the same thing for me, as my worth was tied to accomplishment and goals and achievement.
Yeah.
And it's not that I needed to stop doing those things.
You're still goal oriented, yeah.
Right. But I did need to change how I interacted with that type of behavior. I did need to change my intention behind it.
Yeah.
And it's a form of chasing our worth or trying to earn our worth. Yeah. And as long as we're trying to chase or earn our worth, it's like a beautiful building up on a hill. And it's really a facade. And we work so hard to get there.
Yeah.
And then we realize it's fake.
Yeah.
And if that's fake, then where do we go from here?
Sure. And the only way to go is for it not to be a facade, to create something real. And what's real is that you have you and you're worth it. What have you gotten out of this video? And do you want some more? Do you want to be like Rocky and be like, come on, give me more? Well, we got more for you. Hey, you want to check out this video here? It's called See Yourself to See Others. It's fantastic. Go check it out. Hey, yo. Until next time, keep shining, yos, because we need your light.